Good morning and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Lots of topics to discuss on today's show. But before we get into that, please do me a small favour. If this is your first time watching, make sure to subscribe to the channel, bottom right hand corner. It's completely free to do so. And also give the video a like. It really helps to show more people the channel. So go and do that if you haven't already. On the show this morning, we will of course be reacting to yesterday's 3-0 defeat to Bournemouth. We'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking a bit about Marcus Rashford. Will he be returning for the next game? Ruben Amorim has answered the question, so I'll be reacting to that. And we'll also be talking about the January transfer window, which obviously starts in about a week from now, and what business needs to be done, which players should be kept, which players should be sold, and we'll try and make it as interactive as possible. So when we get to that part of the show, I am going to read out a player's name and yeah, we can do like a keep, sell, buy type thing. So yeah, that could be quite interesting. And we'll see how we get on with that. But let's start off by talking about yesterday's game. I don't know. It's just frustrating, isn't it? I don't really know what else to say. I did my match reaction last night and I was quite frustrated, let's say. I've just had it with most of these players. That's the simple answer. But just to be very clear, right? I felt the same way before Ruben Amorim came in. I felt the same way under Ten Hag. I felt the same way under Ralf Rangnick. I felt the same way under Ollie. So this isn't really a new feeling for me. It's just a feeling that just keeps coming back. And obviously we all hope that when a new manager comes in, suddenly these players become good. But we can clearly see that that's not a reality, is it? We can clearly see that nobody, as I said before Eric Ten Hag got sacked, I said, I don't think any manager in world football will turn this ship around based on the players that we've got. Now, is it poor recruitment? Probably. Is it players coming for money? Probably. Is it stuff going on behind the scenes? Probably. Is it the club allowing us to be in this way over the last decade where they reward people for failure? You think Bruno Fernandes, for example, right? We finished 8th last season and he gets a new 350 grand a week contract. I mean, that's rewarding people for failure. What football club in the world do you know that would reward a player with a 350 grand a week contract after they've just finished 8th and he'd had a poor season? I don't think any football club would do that. And remember, this was under Ineos that they did this, wasn't it? It wasn't under the Glazers. It was an Ineos decision to give him a new deal, make him the highest paid player at the club. So you can kind of see where it all stems from and where this kind of rot comes from, because you've got a player like Bruno who, let's be honest, hasn't really achieved that much in his career. Like if you look at Bruno's trophy cabinet, right? So I'm going to get it up for you now. And you look at what he's 30 now. In his whole career, he's won a League Cup, an FA Cup. He's won the league with Sporting, but although that was 6 years ago. And he's won the Nations League with Portugal, and that's it. He's won 4 trophies in his career. League Cup, I mean, most people would say that's like a second-rate trophy. Nations League, that's not a particularly great trophy, is it? Portuguese Cup, fair play. That's a good achievement with Sporting. And the FA Cup last year, okay, that's a somewhat good achievement. But the point I'm making here is, right, we reward players who isn't a serial winner, had a poor season, is 30 years of age, and we give him a new 350 grand a week contract. And that just shows how we've allowed this rot to spread throughout the club. He's the best player, he's the star player, he's on the biggest money, and he's still not good enough, So, yeah, I don't know. And it's interesting to see as well, right, that our best player this season has been Ahmad. Would we all agree on that? Ahmad's on the lowest wage out of any of those players in that whole squad. Amad Diallo at Manchester United earns £28,000 a week. Rashford, Bruno, Casemiro, they're all on 300 grand plus a week. So, Casemiro is currently earning 10 times the amount of Ahmad and he's sat on the bench. Marcus Rashford is earning over 10 times the amount of Ahmad and he's not even being selected because he's not training properly. Bruno Fernandes is earning over 10 times the amount. I mean, Mason Mount is on 250 grand a week and has probably played about 10 games since he's joined Manchester United. So you can see where the problem arises. I've kind of outlined why we are where we are, and it's clear to see it. It's a lot of bad decisions. It's a lot of rewarding average players with big contracts, and it's allowing this mediocrity to spread. But how do they get out of this? I mean, the only way that we can get out of this, hence the video title, is what Ralf Rangnick said we had to do a couple of years ago. We need open heart surgery. We need to completely gut this team. And I'm going to go through the players, as I said, as I promised, and we're going to go from start to finish. I'll try and do a poll for every single one of them. And what I'll do is I'll start the poll at the beginning of when I speak. So we'll do this. Keep, sell, buy. Keep or sell. So I'll try and make this... I've never done it like this before, so it will either work or it won't. But so how this part of the show is going to work, right? I'll read out the player's name. I will then set up a poll. And you can vote in the poll. And whilst you're voting in the poll, I will give you my thoughts, and then we'll kind of react to it. So, right, we'll start with Andre Onana. He's the first one. Get involved in the poll. Each poll will only be live for like 30 seconds, so make sure you vote early. So, Andre Onana, for me, I think he's been okay this season, but is he good enough to take us to top 4? Is he good enough to take us to winning titles? I don't think so personally, but I don't think we'd probably be able to get very much money for him at the moment. So my preference would be this. I would say keep Andre Onana for now, sell Altay Bayindir, and buy a really, really good backup, somebody who can actually compete with him. And if Andre Onana's out of form, swap the goalkeeper. Because at the moment, let's be honest, we saw Altay Bayindir against Tottenham. He's no better than Onana. He's worse, let's be clear. He is worse. So I would probably keep Onana, sell Altay Bayindir, and bring in a different goalkeeper. Right, so that's that one. So for the first poll, 66% of people watching today want to sell Andre Onana. Okay, so we'll move straight on to the next player. Hopefully you can do lots of polls in each show. Right, yeah, you can. So the next one we're going to do is Martinez. So I'll just do it like that. Sell Martinez, yes, no. So anybody who's just joining late, we're going through the whole team and we're doing like a keep, sell, buy type thing. So the next player is Lisandro Martinez. I think Martinez has been very poor this season. I would definitely be looking at bringing in probably 2 new centre-backs in the summer. Obviously, Harry Maguire's contract expires, Johnny Evans' contract expires, and Lindelof's contract expires. So those 3 players will most likely leave, which would mean our only defenders will be Martinez, Lenny Yoro, De Ligt. Mazraoui obviously can play at centre-back, but I don't think he's that great there. I think he's better in the right wing-back position. Luke Shaw can play at left-sided centre-back, but again, I don't think he's particularly great there, and he's never fit. So Martinez I would probably keep because we can't sell every single player, but I'm not sure whether at the moment, based on the current form, he should be starting. I would probably get Johnny Evans back in the squad for the game against Wolves, to be honest, if he's fit. I would probably do De Ligt, Johnny Evans, and either Lenny Yoro or Maguire. I would genuinely probably go for that for the Wolves game, I think. Martinez is obviously good at passing, but I just think he has been a bit questionable defensively. So I'm going to say keep Lisandro Martinez, but I think we should definitely be rotating him a little bit more. So that's my take on that. I'm not going to bother doing Maguire because his contract expires. So 65% of people say we should not sell Lisandro Martinez, which I would agree with. And let's move on today to... Let's do Mazraoui. I mean, this is a bit of a silly one. I'd be very surprised if anybody says sell Mazraoui, but I'll keep this one short. Obviously, get involved in the poll again. I think Mazraoui at right wing back has been decent. I think he's been one of our better players. I don't really like him as a centre back, but I think as a right wing back, he's definitely worth keeping. So I'll keep that one short. I think most people would agree with me on that. Obviously, if you want to see the results of all the polls, they are in the chat, so you can have a little look. And we will now move on to the next player, which will be Dalot. Let me know if you like this show. It's a bit different. It's a bit more interactive than what I do usually. So hopefully you do like it. So the next player is Diogo Dalot. What does everybody think? Get involved in the poll. Let me know your thoughts. For me personally, I think Diogo Dalot's average, and that's being kind. I think if Real Madrid are genuinely interested and would be willing to pay us this 40, 50 million pounds, I think you have to take it, to be honest. Like, we paid, I think it was around 20 million for him, and that was maybe 6 years ago. So if we were to sell him now and make a profit, I think it would be good business. He's 25. I don't think he's massively improved over the last couple of years. I think he's just like, he's one of those players who's not great going forward and he's not great defensively. He's just kind of like an all-round average player. Whereas obviously Wan-Bissaka was, in my opinion, world-class defensively, but awful going forward, you know? Whereas Dalot's kind of just like middle of the road with both defensive attributes and attacking attributes. But yeah, for me personally, I would sell Diogo Dalot. If there was an option to do that, if they were offering us 40, 50 million, like it's being reported, I would sell him. We only paid 22 million euros for him. So, if we got 50 million euros, that would be 28 million euros profit, which would pretty much buy you another right wing back. So yeah, I would sell Dalot personally. I don't think he's that good. I think there's definitely a resale value there. So yeah, it's a definite sell for me. But yeah, let's move on to the next player. I'm not going to bother with Ugarte and Mainu because I think I would be very surprised if anybody wants us to sell Ugarte and Mainu. So I'm not going to bother with that. Let's move over to Malacia because I think that's a bit more realistic, isn't it? Again, get involved in the poll. I will read out all of the results of the poll at the end of the show so we can go through that together. But yeah, for me, Malacia, I would probably sell him, to be honest. Like, I appreciate he's been injured for 18 months, but I don't think he was good enough before he got injured. And yesterday showed that he's poor, let's be honest. He got subbed at halftime. He isn't good enough. He wasn't good enough before his injury. It was another one of Erik ten Hag's questionable signings that hasn't worked out. I would look to move him on. How much has he got on his contract? Let's have a look. The thing is as well, he'll definitely have options, Malacia. We know that,
teams in the Netherlands will definitely be interested in him. He is still only 25. He's still relatively young. He's only got 2 years left of his contract as well. So Man United will need to start making some considerations about him now, really, especially in the summer. Because if you think in the summer, June 2025, he'll only have 1 year left on his deal. So yeah, he'll either probably leave in January or leave next summer, I imagine. He's on quite big wages as well. He's on £75,000 a week, which is a lot for a player who's not very good, I don't think. But yeah, I would sell him 100%. So 90% of people watching the video today say sell Malacia, which I would agree with 100%. So let's move on to the next player then. Everyone who's just joined, by the way, make sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe as well. Go and do that right now. Go and do the liking and subscribing. Doesn't cost any money. It's completely free. So please do that right now. We did hit 40,000 subscribers yesterday, which is absolutely amazing. So thank you to everybody. I have just dropped a link into the chat to subscribe if you are new. So the next player we're going to do is going to be a controversial one, I'm sure. It's going to be Bruno Fernandes. So let's do this. Sell Fernandes. There we go. Right, get involved in the poll. Would you sell Bruno Fernandes? I would. 100%. 100%. Bruno frustrates the life out of me. He's wasteful, overpaid, petulant. Yes, he's been a good player for us over the last couple of years. Yes, he's put in some really good performances in certain games, lots of assists, some goals. But I think if we want to get to the next level as a team, emphasize that word, a team, I think players like Bruno need to be moved on. I think, in a certain team, he could do well. I don't know, in like a Bayern Munich or one of those teams who kind of walk the league every year. I know Bayern Leverkusen won the Bundesliga last season, but generally Bayern Munich win every season, don't they? I think in a team like that, he would do well. He'd probably be rotated with someone like a Musiala. But for Manchester United to have someone as your star player who doesn't seem to be able to retain the ball, gives the ball away at every opportunity. Like, that can't happen, especially in a team that's trying to build up from the back, possession-based football and dominating games. We get the ball, we win it back, and then Bruno gives it away. And he's been doing that for years. So for me, I would sell Bruno 100%. But the likelihood of that happening is probably relatively slim. As I said at the beginning of the video, Manchester United were stupid enough to give him an absolutely massive contract at the age of 30. He's only going to decline from here, realistically. Let's be honest. He's 30 years of age now, and he's just been given a £300,000 a week contract for 3 more years. So by the time he leaves Manchester United, he'll be, I think, 33, 34. And I'm also looking here, he's also got 75 grand worth of bonuses in that contract. So per week, if he meets all of his bonuses, he can earn 375k a week. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. I'm sorry. It's crazy. So for me, it's a definite sell. In relation to you, 68% of people watching today say sell Bruno and 32% of you say keep Bruno. So there you go. That's the results on that one. The next player is Ahmad. I don't think Ahmad's worth doing because I imagine most people want Ahmad to stay. Let's do Joshua Zirkzee as the next player. Let's have a look. So we'll do sell Zirkzee, ? Joshua Zirkzee. I mean, I feel a bit harsh because he has only just joined Manchester United, but I'll keep this bit simple. We didn't pay that much money for Joshua Zirkzee, did we? In the grand scheme of things. But if we were able to get that money back now, I probably would sell him, to be honest. He's not a bad player. I'm just not sure that he suits the Premier League, to be honest. Like, he's not terrible. He's got 4 goals and 2 assists in 25 games, which is okay. One of them was in the League Cup. He's got 3 in the Premier League, and 1 assist in the Europa League and 1 assist in the Premier League. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not great. Let's have a look what we paid for him. We paid 42.5 million euros. I mean, it was quite a lot, actually. What's that in pounds? Sorry, I like to work out all these little things. So we paid about £35 million for him. But yeah, I mean, in short, if we were able to get that money back, I would probably sell him, to be honest. If someone said to me this, right? You can sell Joshua Zirkzee for 35 million, and then you go and get Gyökeres for 58 million. That's what apparently he's being valued at. I would do that in a heartbeat. Because that would mean you're only having to top up the Zirkzee transfer fee by about 20 million, and you're getting one of the most exciting strikers in the world at the moment. And I think that's what we need. I think we need a striker, and Joshua Zirkzee isn't a striker. I don't really know what he's good at. He's a strange player, realistically. He operates in lots of different positions. He's trying to do lots of different things, but we just need an out-and-out goal scorer, realistically. How many chances did we create yesterday? I think our XG was nearly 3 and we didn't score a single goal. I looked at the stats after the game and it said we missed 4 big chances. We had an XG of like 3. Bournemouth had an XG of 1. I think we had 20 shots. Bournemouth had about 8. We had 60% possession. Like if you didn't watch that game of football yesterday and you just looked at the stats, you'd be like, how the hell did Manchester United lose that game? XG is expected goals. So our expected goals for yesterday was nearly 3. Bournemouth was just about 1. 20 shots to their 8. 60% possession. Like, on paper, statistically, we should have won that game yesterday. And I know people will be like, we lost 3-0. How can you say that? We lost 3-0 because our players can't score goals. The amount of chances we had where a player like a Gyökeres, a player like a Haaland, someone like that, a world-class striker, would bury them. We could have easily won that game. We could have even come back from 3-0. But with players like Joshua Zirkzee on the pitch, like, unfortunately, that's not going to happen. He seems to be allergic to the box. He doesn't run in there. He doesn't seem to want to shoot ever. Like, it's just frustrating. So yeah, for me, I would sell him on the condition that we got our money back. If we were unable to get the money back, then I probably would keep him. But yeah, I don't think he's good enough. And to be honest, I don't think he seems like he's fully settled in. And, you've got these rumours coming out constantly that, he's being linked back to Italy again. So, yeah, where are those rumours coming from? But anyway, let's move on from that. Let's move on to Garnacho. I think this will be an interesting one. A really interesting one. So in relation to Joshua Zirkzee, 75% of people watching the video today say sell Zirkzee, which I think is fair. If we'd have invested 100 million in him, I would say keep him, give him a chance, but we didn't pay that much for him. The next one is Garnacho. So in relation to Garnacho, I think with Garnacho, context is needed, to be honest. If someone was willing to pay us like 60, 70, 80 million for Garnacho, I would sell him 100% in a heartbeat. But it all depends how much money is being offered for Garnacho. For me, I think he is a good player. I think he does have a future at Manchester United, but there are some bits of his game that I don't like. He's not a team player. He doesn't pass the ball. He shoots every time he gets the ball. He thinks he's kind of like the star man, but he isn't yet. Like, there's all these little things which are kind of rubbing me up the wrong way with Garnacho, but I'm not massively like anti-Garnacho, if that makes sense. I don't mind him. I think he does have a lot of quality traits, but if a big offer came in for him, I probably would look to sell him. So yeah, that's that's that one. In relation to the rest of the players, we'll do Højlund actually. So in relation to Garnacho, 61% of people want to sell Garnacho, 39 say keep. Okay, and then the final player is going to be Højlund. Let's do this one quickly. So Højlund. I like Højlund. I think he's got the right attitude. I think he's got a good work rate. I don't think he's the finished article yet. I think he's still got quite a long way to go, but I would personally keep Højlund.
for many reasons. One, that I like his attitude. Two, that I think he does have that clinical, striker instinct, which is quite hard to find in the modern game. And I also think, based on the amount of money we paid for him, we're never going to get that money back. So you have to look at it like that. Whereas with Joshua Zirkzee, we paid 35 million. A team in Italy would give us 35 million for him. Whereas with Højlund, I think we paid closer to 70 million. No one's going to give us 70 million for Højlund. You'd be lucky to probably get 40 million. So yeah, that's my take on Højlund. I like him. I think he does have a future at Manchester United. But part of that is because we paid so much money for him that we have to make it work. There's no way that we could not make Rasmus Højlund work at Manchester United. Let's have a look at his stats this season. He's got 7 goals in 20 games. So he's averaging a goal every 3 games. It's not terrible. He's only got 2 goals in the Premier League, though, which is that's a bit disappointing, isn't it? He's played 12 times in the Premier League and has got 2 goals. So he's averaging a goal every 6 games in the Premier League, which is, let's be honest, not great, is it? If you compare that to, say, like an Ollie Watkins, how's he doing this season? Let's have a little look. Ollie Watkins has got 7 goals this season, but he has played 17 games. Let's have a look at, say, like Solanke at Tottenham. How much did they pay for Solanke? Let's have a look. Yeah, they paid about the same amount of money Tottenham did for Solanke. Solanke's played about the same amount of games. He's got 6 goals and 3 assists. Although, to be completely fair, Tottenham literally are like all-out attack every single game, aren't they? So they're probably creating more chances for him. So in short, I would keep Rasmus Højlund. I think he does have a future. I like a lot about him. He's still very young. So yeah, for me, it's a keep on Rasmus Højlund. 77% of people say we should keep Højlund, and 23% of you say we should sell him. Fair enough. Obviously, I know some people are going to be quite upset today because of the game yesterday, so I appreciate that. I'm not going to bother running through the rest of the players because I think everyone will be in agreement, if that makes sense. Like, everyone's going to agree on Johnny Evans. He's going to leave. Casemiro, everyone's going to want him to go. Bayinda, no one probably cares. Anthony, everyone wants him to go. Eriksen, he's leaving anyway. So I'm not going to bother going through the other players. Obviously, I have missed out on some of the players as well, like Mainu, Ugarte, Lenny Yoro, because I think most people will probably want them to stay. And if they don't, it will just be because, you're feeling frustrated after yesterday's game. So, yeah, I more wanted to go through the players that were a little bit more, I don't know if controversial is the right word, but obviously there's Luke Shaw as well. I think everyone would agree that Luke Shaw should leave. Mason Mount, I think everyone would agree that Mason Mount should go. Neither of those two are going to go. There's no way they'll leave because they're on 250 grand a week, sat at home, doing nothing, being injured all the time. So they're living the dream. And I know people will say, I'm sure they would rather play football. I'm sure they would, but I don't know. I think after last season, Luke Shaw's injured all season, and then suddenly he's available for the Euros. I mean, that's a massive red flag for me. Is it not for you? He effectively probably thought, I'm not getting involved last season. I would rather wait for the Euros. Man United are 8th in the table. I can't be bothered with this. I'm going to wait for the Euros, and that's what he did. So, yeah, I mean, we don't want players like that. But as I said at the very beginning of the video, this is what we've allowed to happen. This is the rot that we've allowed to spread at Manchester United. So you can't really blame these players. We've allowed this to happen. We've enabled this to happen. Not me and you as fans, but the football club itself. So, yeah. Let's talk about Marcus Rashford quickly then before we end the video. Will Marcus Rashford be returning for the next game? That's the big question. So, yeah, I think we've got one more game this year, don't we? Let's have a little look. Obviously, the transfer window opens on the 1st of January. And we play on Boxing Day, don't we? Which is Thursday. We play at 5:30 on Boxing Day. Oh, we got 2 more games this year, actually. So we've got this Thursday, Boxing Day, which is the 26th. And then we also play Newcastle on Monday. To be honest with you, I don't really see how Rashford can return now. I think it just makes Ruben Amorim look weak if he suddenly decides that Marcus Rashford can come back. He's either going or he's staying. It's as simple as that. There's no middle ground anymore with Marcus Rashford. You either sell him in January or you bring him back into the team. You can't have him not playing if you want to keep him. It's as simple as that for me, So
yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. But I'm going to wrap the video up today. I hope you have enjoyed. It's been a little bit of a different show. It's been very interactive. Please make sure to give the video a thumbs up before you go. And if this is your first time watching, make sure you also subscribe as well. We did hit 40,000 subscribers yesterday, which is absolutely lovely to see. Let's move straight on to the next milestone. Let's get up to the 41s, the 42s, the 50s, the 100s, the 200s. Let's do it. Why not? Thank you very much for joining me today. I'll be back tomorrow morning, as always. Have a great day. Speak to you later. Bye for now.